Rimpage has developed a classification method so that we can analyze any player and determine that player's motion art style.
And it literally has opened my eyes. I see the game in a completely different way now.
We know that every player's objective is to score and to stop their opponent from doing the same thing. But what the motion art styles shows us is that they go about it in different ways. And then it just, I think, expands our appreciation of the game.
Hello and welcome. This is the scouting report for Ashton Cook. Ashton uses the motion art style called Razor, and we want to talk a little bit about Razor today and how Ashton uses it. There are 9 elements that we look at. The first one is spirit, or emotional temperature. This is a measure of how emotionally expressive the player is in a match, and we make an observation about that player. He can either be hot, cold, or warm, with hot being a player who is very emotionally expressive during a match. These players are loud, they're very expressive. They may trash talk, they'll scream when they miss a shot or when they block a shot. And then the opposite extreme is very quiet, very subdued. They hardly say anything. Everything that's happening with them is mostly internal. It's an internal dialogue that's happening with them. And then warm is somewhere in between. And so the observation for Ashton is that he is warm. Sometimes he's emotionally and verbally expressive, and sometimes he's not, or at least there's no consistent dominant pattern. Again, that's neither good nor bad. It just depends on how the player incorporates that into his overall game. Next, go to offensive strategies. Of course, every player wants to score. Here, what we're looking at is how the player prefers to score, especially when he can do whatever he wants to do as opposed to having to do something that the defense forces him into. This helps us determine the player's style. What we observed about Ashton is that he's looking to create off the dribble. He's looking to put the ball on the floor and make something happen. Dribble first and figure out the rest from there. He seeks to create opportunities off the dribble. So he's dribbling for the purpose of breaking down the defense. Next, for dribble attack styles, when he does dribble, what is he trying to do? With Ashton, as we said, he's trying to break down or disorient or overwhelm or fool or mesmerize the defense. He's looking to create some sort of opportunity or advantage off the dribble. Sometimes these players can appear to be a show-off. They will certainly humiliate you if you're not a good defender. And that may be intimidating to defenders. It may dismay defenders where they don't want to guard you because they're afraid of being embarrassed. We see this quite a bit with Ashton. He will dribble that ball through your legs and sort of humiliate you. Mesmerize you with a flurry of dribbles, breaking down the defense, and that's his thing. And so with him, you'll see circular paths. You'll see switching hands quickly and often. They may use numerous fakes. They'll use numerous zones and ranges. They have tricky tactics. Their movements can be choppy or scattered. They're kind of like a tornado. In fact, Ashton has a move called the Texas Tornado. They're like a storm or a blitz or a flurry. These players are very adaptable. They're very flexible, and they're very nimble and complex. That sums up Ashton's game right there. If you take that away from him, you don't have Ashton Cook. He's really looking to mesmerize you, disorient you, break you down off the dribble. Next, we look at his shooting arsenal. There are many different shots in basketball, but the ones that are in his arsenal are the ones that he scored either a 4 or a 5 over, meaning he shoots those shots very well. So in his arsenal, he has the quick pull-up off the dribble. Of course, you will see Ashton do that. He's dribbling, then suddenly he's up in the air taking the jump shot. And he shoots that one we scored a 4 on that one. His pull-up jump shot, meaning he never dribbles, he's holding it. Maybe he'll do a few fakes, and then all of a sudden he pulls up and he shoots it. Shoots that one out of 5. Excellent. The next one is the scoop shot when he's penetrating to the basket. The one-handed shot. When you're watching Ashton play, look for him he's very entertaining. You'll see him shoot a shot and do a backflip. You'll see him go through his legs on a layup. You'll see him do push-ups. He's entertaining. He's aware of that. Wants the fans to have a good experience. And so one of his shots is a one-handed 2-pointer, one-handed 3-pointer. I've even seen him shoot a one-handed 4-pointer, and he shoots it very well. So we scored him at a 4. That shot is in his arsenal. Next, the finger roll at the basket. He's got that one at a 5. The layup, he scores a 5 on that one. Ashton will do reverse layups. He's capable of some beautiful reverse layups, very crafty around the basket and difficult to defend, difficult to block. I've also seen Ashton create and improvise, meaning he goes up intending to take one shot, and when the defender opposes him, he's able to change and alter that shot. He scores a 4 on that one as well. He's got that in the arsenal. The step back, of course. Ashton is able to, off the dribble, penetrate, and then suddenly he pulls it back, and he'll leave you under the basket, and he's at the 2-point line. Once again, making things happen off the dribble. Very good at shooting that step back jump shot. We scored him a 5 there, and his pump fake is dangerous. His hesitation dribble, he'll do a move where he's dribbling, and then he'll bring that free hand over as though he's going to pick up the ball to shoot it. Defenders go up in the air, and he goes to the basket. Very entertaining to watch. That's Ashton's arsenal. Next, we look at the range, and this measures the threat level at each different range. Starting with the low post, Ashton scores a 5 in the low post. When he gets down there and he puts up shots, he's very effective in the low post and scoring. This could be with his turnaround jump shot down there, or when he's penetrated to the basket for a layup. Mid-range, excellent shooter. He scores a 5 in the low post. He scores a 5 at mid-range. From that 2-point distance, he also scores a 5. Ashton is an excellent shooter. And then from the shot boxes, he scores a 4. That's the 4-point and the 2 3-point boxes. So overall, excellent shooter, lethal shooter. Ashton will shoot the lights out if you don't stop him. He's a player that you definitely have to close out on. If you give him a sliver of space, he can pull up on you. He will knock that shot down. Next, offensive versatility, and this measures how well a player has trained both sides of his body. We score them on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is weak or not observed, 3 is somewhere in between, fair, and 5 is excellent. So dribbling to his left, Ashton scores a 2. This is something we haven't observed. Doesn't mean he's not skilled at it, but if you watch his game, there's a tendency to go right. And so for going left, he scores a 2. For going right, he's definitely a 5. He is most dangerous when he's going right. Shooting with the right hand, also scores a 5. Shooting with the left hand, he scores a 1, and that just means we seldom see him take a shot with his left hand, like a jump shot. Turning over his right shoulder, he scores a 2 there. Again, not observed. However, turning over that left shoulder, dangerous. He scores a 4 there. Dribbling to his right into a pull-up, he scores a 4. Dribbling into his left into a pull-up, also scores a 4. So overall, excellent. Overall, very tough to defend because he is so versatile. And this is one of the hallmarks of our more well-refined, well-developed players. And it separates them from the lesser skilled players. And that's, can you score with your left hand? Can you dribble to the left and make something happen? Or are you a one-sided, one-dimensional player? You can only score with the right hand. You only drive to the right. And it's as though that left side of the court doesn't even exist to you. Well, with Ashton, he's going to be all over the place. He's skilled going in either direction. Next, hero potential. This measures, can you make the big play? Do you have a killer instinct? Are you able to not just reach match point, but close out the victory, close out that opponent and win that match? Take victory away from your opponent. That's killer instinct. Next, how well do you perform under pressure? Rising to meet the moment. And so we scored Ashton as a big playmaker on a scale of 1 to 5. He's a solid 4. Ashton can make the big play. He has more victories than any other Rimpage player. Killer instinct, he's a 5, dead on 5. Ashton refuses to lose. He's tenacious when the game is on the line. One of the entertaining things that I like about him, and you'll see this when you see him play, is if he gets down, watch how he brings that match under control. It's like a switch turns on. He turns up the intensity. He starts making shots. He starts getting defensive stops. He kicks into another gear until he's got that match under control. He's in the lead, and he's cruising toward a victory. Definitely has a killer instinct. Rising to meet the challenge, Ashton scores a solid 5 on that one as well. There are several matches I've seen where victory was threatened. The other player had match point or was close to it, and Ashton turned up the defense, and he would not allow that player to score that last point. able to rise to the pressure. There have been players who heard about Ashton and they wanted to challenge him. And so these are sort of high pressure, high stakes situations. He responded very well under pressure there as well. One of the things you'll notice about Ashton is he's having fun out there, and that really helps to deal with the stress, helps to deal with the pressure. You don't take things too seriously. You'll see that in his game. He's having fun out there, and he causes you to have fun with him. He is fun to watch. Next is the edge. What is it that makes this particular player effective? With Ashton, you're going to see quickness. You're going to see agility. You're going to see craftiness. He is intimidating to guard because you will get embarrassed if you're not a good defender. He's going to do something to embarrass you. I've seen him fake guys and they're a few feet away from him and he's waving at them. Or he'll pump fake and they go sailing by and he waves before he takes the shot. All these things make it a daunting task to guard him because you don't want to get embarrassed. Next, you'll see Ashton has a winner's mentality. There are some players who just have that in them. It's like at the outset of the game, they already feel like the game belongs to them, and you're playing to take it away from them. That's not actually the case. Actually, at the beginning of the game, the victory belongs to no one, but there are some players who have that air about them. They play in that way that it makes it feel like the game already is theirs, and your job is to take it away from them. He has a way of making adjustments so that he can get a game under control and cruise to victory. Next, we have body control, which measures a player's dexterity, his flexibility, his control over his body. Ashton is a 9 out of 10, very precise with his movements, so excellent body control there. When you're watching Ashton, look for these things. Look for him to mesmerize with the dribble. Look for him to be crafty with the dribble, to create things off that dribble. Look for him to be entertaining. Look for him to be tenacious. Look for a winner's attitude. Look for Ashton's knockout power. Ashton has set the record for being the first player in the league to score a knockout, meaning hit 3 4-pointers in 3 rounds to end a match. Match over. He's got knockout power. Of all the players in our league, he has incorporated that 4-point shot faster than everyone else, and I would say to a higher degree than everyone else. It really is a strong feature of his game. You'll see him make maybe 1 or 2 of those per match. It really is a dangerous prospect. And the way that works for him is he's all the way out there at half court, but you have to go out there and guard him because he can hit that half-court shot. So you get up on him. You got to take that away. If he makes it, you're down 4. Now he pump fakes you, and you're up in the air at half-court. With his quickness, he's already at the basket. It's game over. So he has really incorporated that 4-point shot into his game, and it is dangerous. So watch for that interplay. Watch to see how defenders guard that. He really does puzzle defenders, and he's a tough puzzle to solve. How do you guard that guy when he can knock down the 4-point shot, knock you out in 3 rounds? And then if you get up on him, he can fly by you. He can embarrass you. He really is a tough player to guard, and that's the reason he's the number 1 player in this league. Next, look for Ashton to go all out. He's going to give you all his effort. He's aware that people are watching him. He wants to put on a show, but he also has an inner sense of pride that does not like to lose. And so there's a lot of inner self-talk there where he's driving himself and pushing himself during the match. He won't let himself down. And that turns out to be very entertaining to watch. So watch for Ashton to use Razor when he plays his match against Spencer Rowe in the Decus Pro coming up on August 27th.